first you see it. Come on. Come on.
All right, it was good, y'all. I am MJ. I'm a photographer, model, and filmmaker living in the city, New York City. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 tips for beginner photographers. All right, so tip number 1 is to shoot both ways. Pretty early on, I learned to shoot both vertically and horizontally. I started off only shooting vertically because, like Instagram, but then I began to do both. So pros to both. I can't really say there are any cons to either necessarily. But vertical is very like Instagram friendly, reel friendly, YouTube short friendly, TikTok. Like it's very social media friendly. Everyone's on their phone looking at it, portrait mode. But it's really good to do both horizontal and vertical because that's great for variation in your photos. And you can use that for like prints. If you choose to make prints, you can use that for galleries if you end up putting things in galleries. Horizontal specifically is really good for practicing to compose. For me personally, it's like really good to practice composing my videos. Horizontal is also great for website photos, especially when people look at them on their computers. And it's great for YouTube thumbnails as well if you decide to, build out a website and start making YouTube videos. But that's an option. All right, so tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to take your time. I say this because early on when I started shooting, I would see a shot and I would just hold down my shutter. This could be in a studio, this could be on the street. And this sometimes was even like an action shot. Like I get holding down your shutter if you're doing action, some kind of action like basketball. But I'm not really sure why I did it outside of the fact that my camera could do it and that was really it. So you don't need to do that because there are a few things more annoying than just going through 50 photos of the exact same thing and nothing has changed and it's just a waste of space. And that does add up and space is very expensive the longer you do this. So take your time to light and compose your image properly and then take the shot. And that takes us to our next tip, which is to learn lighting and composition. So lighting and composition to me is more important than gear. And I'm saying this while I completely understand that I have a good amount of gear. And at one point I had 2 cameras before I switched. But learning how to compose your image and how to control the light in your image really makes the image. And it doesn't matter what kind of camera you have or how expensive that camera is or how expensive your lens is or how low of an aperture it has. None of that matters. If your composition and your lighting is trash, then your image is probably trash as well. That's almost a guarantee. Your image won't feel the way you want it to feel. That's very important. I'm sure you understand. I'm sure you get a certain feeling when you look at an image from one of your favorite photographers, something that you really enjoy that you made. And it's not just because they have a better camera than you. It's because they understand how to light and compose their image. This brings me to tip 4, which is learning from others. We all find inspiration in so many different places, and some of those places include each other. Find photographers whose work that you love and that you really enjoy, and try to understand what they did in that photo. Try to understand how they lit that photo or how they composed it. And use that stuff that you learn from their work and put it in yours. Look through their websites. Look at any videos they have online. You can learn so much from these people that you don't necessarily have access to. In best case scenario, you have access to one of these people. You can see them, you can shadow them, you can assist them, you can go on photo walks with them. That's the best case scenario. But a lot of times, depending on where you live or who you know, you won't have that. So YouTube, their websites, you can do all that. I used to take notes going through people's websites and looking at different pictures that I really liked. Another great scenario is to shoot with people who are around the same level as you. So if they just started or intermediate, whatever your level may be, shoot with people who are around the same level as you. And y'all will both learn a lot together. You might be a group of you will learn so much together. It's that whole adage about going further with other people or going farther together, that whole thing. And lastly, tip 5 is you don't have to spend a hella bread off the bat. Save where you can. I know YouTube has so many videos that show the newest and best and most innovative gear, and you want it, I do too, but you don't always need it. and especially starting off, like save where you can. Now down the line, if you've done this for a while and you need to spend the extra money for higher quality or for extra features that you know you'll use, cool, do that. I mean, that's on you. You understand what you need. But at the beginning, you really don't need that much to learn and to make great images. So this means buying a cheaper camera or lenses. I bought used cameras from Adorama. I don't think B&H does, but I bought one from Adorama. I bought lenses and I bought lenses from MPIC, places like that, like these other websites. They have used gear that you can buy and use and they'd be perfectly fine. People take pretty good care of their photo equipment. This also means so as far as like lenses go, buying cheaper lenses. This means prime lenses that are 1.8s instead of 1.4s. My first prime lens was a 35 crop sensor 1.8 lens. It was $200. I use it all the time. That was the only lens I really used because I had the kit lens and I had that prime lens and that was it. I only use the prime lens for real. And I could have bought a 35 full frame, 1.4 aperture type lens and it just would have been overkill. Like I didn't need that for real. And it was super expensive. $200 versus what, over $1,000. I just didn't need that. It wasn't gonna change my life. It wasn't gonna make me that much better of a photographer. So early on, save that money because it's for what? Like you're not becoming exponentially better because of a certain lens. This also doesn't only apply to prime lenses or used cameras. This applies to zoom lenses as well. So you can buy f4 lenses instead of f2.8s. You will lose some depth of field. You will lose some like bokeh or blurriness in the background. You'll lose that, and that's fine. And if you have the bread to spend that extra, do that, that's on you. But you can get a 24 to 105 f4 lens for I think under $900. And then you can get a 24 to 70. So you lose a little bit of like distance or I guess like length on the lens, 2.8 for over $1,200. So, I mean, it's really like give and take, but you could do so much with that f4 24 to 105, especially starting out when you might not need that shallow depth of field or as much. And one of the last things about lenses, there are third-party lenses. You might have seen them, Sigma, Tamron, Rokinon. Like there are other lenses for these cameras. You don't have to have your camera body match your lens. It's not like wearing Adidas joggers with J's or like ones. No one's gonna say anything because it's expensive. So you can buy third-party lenses. That's perfectly fine. Photography is extremely expensive. You're gonna spend a lot of money. And if you're doing it for a minute, and I assume you will be, very expensive. So save yourself some bread while you can before you really understand what you need to for real spend bread on. That is it for this video. I hope this helped someone. I will be posting videos about photography, modeling, and filmmaking. So if you like that, cool, stick around. I hope you do. Social media, website links in the description below. Questions, comments, concerns. I hope you have zero concerns, but if you do, drop them all below. And once again, I'm MJ. I'll see you on the next one. Y'all be easy.